This is Uncharted Abyss. As of when I'm recording this, this is the top 1 map in TD6, and it is really, really hard. But, somehow, I beat it, and accidentally got the cheapest completion. Let's get into the run. So, this is the run. I forgot to record the first few rounds, but they're not too hard to figure out. Most of this entire early game is taken from Paul XD. Well, it's not the exact same, but I kind of copied him until like round 23, and then I tried to start doing something a little bit different. But then I ended up almost doing exactly the same thing as him, like somewhat accidentally. So yeah, this early game is pretty standard for this map, but I'll get to the part that will seem a bit interesting for most non-map list players. If you're not in the map list Discord, you might be wondering why I save up this much in the early game. It's for a pretty weird purpose. Semi-auto. Semi-auto on the sniper is actually the best early game on this map, because it allows you to only get 1 camo potion for 33 and just have things available for the rest. It also basically solos like the entire early game with pretty little support, and can even help a little bit in the mid game, and as you'll see later, a tiny bit even in the late game, which is kinda weird. We'll be leaving it at 103 because 203 just isn't worth it. So by this point in the run, I wasn't trying to go for LCC, I kinda just wanted to beat the map. So I do a pretty normal round 40 here, except I was still trying to optimize a little bit. Like, not use too many spikes or too many items from Jerry to beat the round. But yeah, a quick example of semi-auto being pretty clutch. The rest of this is pretty boring until I get flagship on 59, so see you then. So I accidentally forgot to record rounds 54, 55, and 56, but don't worry, they were pretty easy. If you're not familiar with this map, you might be asking, why flagship? Well, if you haven't noticed, pretty much all of this map is water, and the only placeable spots for land are the green eyes, but those are all already taken up, so you have to go a water tower, and flagship is the strongest water tower and allows you to place land towers later. So yeah, that's nice. Flagship isn't technically forced on this map, but it essentially is, because the only other way to do it is by skipping the sniper and placing like an Arctic Wind on that one placeable land area. No one's going to try and do that though, because it sounds painful. Something about this run that really isn't fun is the fact that basically every round from now until the end requires some sort of good flagship RNG, because the planes are pretty random, there isn't really a way to control them. So you kind of just have to rely on good luck to even beat the map, which is kind of annoying. And also, you'll see this jar of pickles I buy here on 64 for the flagship. This is like definitely cuttable and not needed. I don't know why I bought it. I'm pretty sure it's like a nerf to flagship against like non-fortifieds, but it doesn't even give bonus fortified damage yet, I think. So it was kind of just bad. I don't know why I did it, but I guess it worked. Okay, so now on 71, I finally give myself the ability to place land towers by placing a 031 Arctic Wind. Normally people would go for a snowstorm here, because I guess the ability is useful and the extra placeable area is nice. But you don't actually need it. All you need is an Arctic Wind to have enough space. So yeah. You also might be wondering why I buy a heli pilot here and why I upgrade it all the way to Moab Shove. I'll get to that in a little bit, but it's going to stay as Shove for quite a while. And also, if you're not familiar with Map List, you might be wondering why I buy upgraded Geraldo turrets. They're actually kind of insane. They're almost free. Well, they're not, but they kind of are free. And they have some insane cleanup capabilities, especially in the late game for Super Ceramics. And it's always worth it to get them unless you quite literally have Bloon Solver. Even then, it's still kind of worth getting. You'll also see that I almost die like almost every round. Yeah, that's normal on this map, that'll happen. And now I go for the next big tower that I'm going to get, which is a Glue Storm. Glue Storm is incredibly useful because it gives D-Lead, bonus damage, and some much needed Ceram control. And it's global. Balance tower. So yeah, on 79 I finally afford the Glue Storm, and it's going to help a ton this run. Like, a ton. So on 82, I finally upgrade that Moab Shove to a Comanche defense. It's kind of weird that I'm buying a mid-game tower for the late game, but it just does a ton of damage, and I mostly keep it on the left because the left side is a pretty big choke point that won't be covered because I don't have good land coverage there at all. So I kind of have to use Comanche. And it's also just really good value. Even though the big bug has been patched, it's still pretty good. If you've been looking closely, you'll see that I have an unstable concoction which I bought on 83, the round I lost footage for. And yeah, now I upgrade it to a transforming tonic, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated upgrades in the game. Normally the meta for this map is to get a plasma robo on the top side to be able to deal with ceramics that have been frozen and also just do good damage. But transforming tonic is better in a few ways that I'll list here. It is just a lot cheaper. It has better burst damage than a plasma robo, with the ability of course, but when you don't have the ability active, it's also arguably stronger than a plasma robo just because of how good Concoction is, especially with this setup. Concoction tends to do really well with setups that are good with cleanup, and I have Carrier Flagship and Glue Storm, two really good cleanup towers. So yeah, it kind of just wrecks everything, and does better than a plasma robo for cheaper. Also, the entire goal of this run initially was to beat this map with Transforming Tonic to show people how good it was. But yeah, this turned into more than that somehow. For some reason on round 90, I buy a totem. I don't know why I bought a totem here. It was kind of weird. It made it so I couldn't place a spike factory there for a while until it ran out, but it still helped with the next few rounds. So here on 92, I buy an aircraft carrier. The reason I buy it is just I needed the extra DPS. I couldn't beat this round without it. But then the reason why I got Grape Shot on it instead of Camo, when Camo is usually better, is because Grape Shot won and Camo did not. It's about as simple as that. I'm guessing it has something to do with the main attack being significantly stronger, which actually kind of helps here, which is really weird. Getting Grape Shot on it instead of Camo allowed me to delay Glue Storm here enough to have it for 3 of the ZOMG insides and damage the other ZOMG too. I could have moved my Comanche to the right, but I needed it to shove the ZOMG on the left or else I definitely would have lost. Here I barely squeaked past round 92, which was the hardest round of the run, by the way. 93 was also a little bit tricky, mostly because of flagship RNG, but when I got good flagship RNG, I basically just insta-won. So yeah, that's nice. The reason I moved the Comanche away here is to stall Gluestorm back just a little bit more. That's why. 94 was probably the second trickiest round of the run, mostly because I really wanted to try and do it without a genie, but I gave up and just used a genie and actually demolished the round. I also buy a Spike Storm here because I'm going to need it for DDTs and round 100, so it's a pretty good purchase. I use Gluestorm a bit late here just because I wanted to try and have it for like the entire round, and that worked pretty well. Transforming Tonic absolutely destroying the right side, by the way, just ignore that. And then yeah, on 95 I finally get the Spike Storm, and I get a second genie and kind of just spam a few Geraldo items, like totems. It's mostly totems, but I spam totems because Geraldo is going to refresh next round, so might as well get all the value I can from it. Since Geraldo has gotten his level 20 restock on 96, I spam a ton of items, like totems. I guess I also put down some turrets and some camo pods, but it was mostly totems. The totems are the main thing that helped here. Also the Jerry Fires. How did I like completely forget about that for a second? Not sure, but yeah. 96 gets basically destroyed with this setup. I guess this is Geraldo abuse to the finest, but that's like every single map list run, so don't really care. '97 gets absolutely destroyed because it is one of the easiest rounds in the game, and also I have Moab Shove, which basically perfectly counters the round. So yeah, I didn't even have to use any abilities, which was very nice for 98, which somehow only took 2 to 3 tries. I guess it just worked. So yeah, pretty standard double genie on 98, and just spam as many Jerry items as possible and kind of win. To kill left side even faster, I use 2 Maelstroms, just because I kind of needed them. Wouldn't really have worked without them. But here I Gluestorm very early so I can have it back up for 99, Spike Storm and Transforming Tonic, and I use that double Maelstrom that I talked about earlier to kill the bottom horizontal ZOMG as fast as possible, so I only have to deal with 1 on that side. Right side got absolutely destroyed by Transforming Tonic, as always, so yeah. And then Comanche helps clean up the left a little bit with triple minis out. It's really good. And the 99 through 100 were actually a black border because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have been able to get LCC, but that wasn't even the intention. So, yeah. Here, I tried to Black Border 99 to 100 to have Glue Storm initially on the bad to deal a ton more damage. That Spike Storm had kind of a whack timing, and I forgot to use Transforming Tonic for a little bit. But yeah, I used Glue Storm pretty quickly. And LCC by $269. Not sure how that happened, but yeah. And that is going to conclude this video. Thanks for watching, have a nice rest of your day, and goodbye. Oh yeah, also, make sure to check out MapList in the description. It's a fun server. I'm in there constantly, and I think you'll have a bit of fun. Anyways, actually, goodbye now.